So today I thought we would talk about how anything can be a basketball learning opportunity if you just approach it with that kind of mentality. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Streetball Strategies. For those of you who were kind enough to watch the movie reviews I've been doing about basketball movies over the last few weeks, you will have noticed that there have been a couple movies that I've recently reviewed that have had a big impact on me and my playing career and how I approach the game. And when I first watched those movies, I didn't intend for that to happen, but because I was open-minded, because when watching those movies, I wasn't only trying to entertain myself, I was trying to, at the same time, study the game so that I could figure out how to get better. They had an impact on me that allowed me to grow my game and establish my legacy more than I would have had I not approached those movies, watching those movies with the intention and mentality that not only am I trying to entertain myself, but I'm also trying to learn and figure out how to get better while doing it. So today I thought we would talk about how anything can be a basketball learning opportunity if you just approach it with that kind of mentality. So the two movies that I'm referencing, the first one is called Rebound, The Legend of Earl the Goat Manigault. That movie showed me that without playing college ball, without being a college star, without playing in the NBA, without being an NBA star, being popular, having your name out there, being famous, even without that kind of road, you can still have a career and legacy and legend and reputation in your local neighborhood, in your local city, and it can be meaningful. It can matter even if it's only to you personally. You can have a career, you can have a legend, you can have a legacy out here. It can be meaningful and it can matter. And as someone who I never dreamed of playing in the NBA, I knew that was way outside of any kind of possibility for me. I just wanted to be a respected winner out here in my local courts, on my local city and neighborhood. And that movie showed me that I could do that. The second movie is Above the Rim. Now that's one of my favorite movies of all time. And there's just a small little insignificant part in this movie that really sort of hit me hard as a teenager who was just at the beginning of my career. I was just beginning to take basketball seriously and really trying to study and learn how to get better. The scene I'm referring to is a scene where you see the main character in the movie, Kyle Watson. You see him working out in his bedroom before he goes to school for the day. And in my naive teenage beginner basketball mind, I thought, oh, that makes perfect sense that he would work out before he goes to school. Because in my beginner mind, the way I approach the game, the way I thought about how do I get better is you just play basketball. And like if you're on the high school team, you play high school games and maybe you practice with your teammates in practice and you get better, or maybe you play some recreational basketball, but that's really all you can do to get better out here on the court. I never took into account the fact that if you want to get better, if you want to be better, you would train on your own, you would do stuff on your own that you don't need to do, and because of that you would become a better player. That just never occurred to me as a naive teenage beginner player. And that really transformed how I approached the game. Meaning, regardless of what your talent level is, you can improve, you can get better, you can learn to compete with pretty much anyone out here. You just have to put in the work. I never considered that before. I just thought, okay, I'll try to get better, but I'm never gonna be on the level of the big, main best guys out here because I don't have their talent. But this movie showed me that if I work, if I put in the work, if I put in extra work that they won't do, then the opportunity for me to elevate myself to their level is real. I can really do that. I just have to put in the work. So when I was a teenager, I only took that small little scene at face value and for the reasons I just explained to you. But while I've seen that movie at least dozens and dozens and dozens of times, when I rewatched it last week for my review, I noticed something that I never noticed before. That scene has much more to it than just the face value I took at it when I was a teenager and really trying to first learn the game. What I learned about that scene rewatching it now, when I haven't seen the movie in years because I've been retired from active competition for years, I haven't watched the movie very much in that time, if at all. So you see Kyle playing a high school game, and he loses that game for his team because he's a ball hog. He tries to show off for the Georgetown scout that's there to watch him. So he takes the last second shot when he's getting double and triple teamed. He has open teammates that he doesn't pass to, and so he misses the shot and they lose the game. After the game, the coach says, "I want to see you in my office at 7:30 tomorrow morning," because they just played a high school game after going to high school for the day. Then you play a high school game, then you lose the game. The coach says he wants to see you in the morning at 7:30 because, again, it's another school day. So as Kyle's leaving the gymnasium after losing the game, he runs into an old friend of his. They end up going to a nightclub and they stay out till 1 o'clock in the morning. That's when the next morning Kyle wakes up at whatever time he has to in order to work out before going to school. But when he comes downstairs after doing his workout, that same friend shows up at his front door and says, "You ready to go to the park?" And they go to the park and Kyle gets in another workout before he goes to school. And then he has basketball practice after that day of school. When I was a teenager watching this movie, when I was an active player watching this movie, I never really put all that together. I just saw the part where you have to work hard in order to get better, but I didn't put all of that together. And I know it's a movie, and I know it's fictional, and I know it's scripted, but to me, watching it back now, that's even more inspirational to me, because that says to me that, yes, that's why this kid is the best. That's why he's getting recruited to Georgetown, because he played a high school game, he lost, he stayed out till 1 o'clock in the morning, then he woke up at whatever time he had to wake up to get 2 separate workouts in before going to school and then having basketball practice after that. And yes, it's a movie and it's fictional and it's scripted, but the truth of the matter is that is very possibly a real world situation. That could really happen. It's not like it's unbelievable that a aspiring college basketball player would put that kind of work and dedication into his craft in order to accomplish his dreams. That's completely realistic. To think that that could be a possibility, that's how you would approach the game. And I find that to be very compelling, very realistic, very inspirational. And I tell you all that to say that even though this is a movie and you watch these movies for entertainment and you don't really have any expectations of learning from these movies or them have any real impact on how you approach the game or how your legacy is going to go out here, because I watch those movies with the mentality of what can I learn, what can I take away from those movies, from that experience, how can I use that to improve my game and develop how I play out here, because I had that mentality of anything can be a basketball learning opportunity. Those 2 movies really transformed how I approach the game. And that's the message I'm trying to get across to you, which is, if you're serious about this, if you're serious about trying to become the best player you can, then you should now sort of look around in your everyday life and figure out how whatever you're doing, whatever you're experiencing, whatever situation you're in, how can you relate that to basketball? How can you relate that to growing your game, improving your game? Whatever it may be that you're doing, even if it's something like watching a movies just for pure entertainment, how do you relate that to basketball? How can that help your game? You should have the mentality, the intention, the purpose always of how can anything be a basketball learning opportunity, whatever it may be. That's why I wish a channel like this would have existed when I was coming up, when I was a kid, when I was first learning the game, because I didn't need people to tell me this is how you do this move and that move. I was already kind of self-taught, or I was self-teaching myself. I didn't really need people to instruct me how to do this and that basketball move. But if I would have had someone saying, okay, think about the game in this aspect, approach the game from this way, think about it this way, come at the game from this approach. If I would have had that, I would have been able to grow and develop even faster, because all of this stuff that I'm telling you guys is all self-taught by myself to myself. And if I can learn the game, if I can improve my game, then you guys definitely can. If I can do it, then you guys definitely can. You just have to be open-minded and sort of constantly be forcing that mentality of how can I use whatever's going on around me to improve my game. I'm not even saying that basketball has to be your life. I'm just saying that use your life as a way to constantly be thinking about how to get better at basketball. Have basketball be part of your everyday, every hour kind of back of your mind kind of thinking and mentality when you're just going through the world, when you're doing things and experiencing things that don't have to do directly with what's going on out here on the court. Always try to stay open-minded and in a basketball mentality of how can I get better? How can I use this to get better and improve my game on the court? And if you're watching this channel, I would assume that that's probably not a hard or difficult thing for you to do, because in order to, I guess, consume these kinds of videos, you have to be kind of that kind of hardcore basketball enthusiast and student and learner. And it's good to be sort of a basketball sponge. Use the world in order to ingest any kind of basketball information you can. Try to relate any kind of useful information out in the world and relate it to basketball. Do that as much as you can. The more you do that, the more you're going to build your game and the faster you're going to develop. So thank you guys for watching. I really hope this helps you. Like I said, I wish this kind of stuff would have existed when I was a player. And so I really do hope that it helps you. And if it does, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, because that would really help me out. And make sure you hit that notification bell so that you're notified of all of my future videos. They all have this kind of a vibe to them. Some of them are more philosophical, some of them are more actual practical, some of them are kind of this is how you do this move, or this is how you approach this skill set. So hit that notification bell so you're notified of when those videos come out. It's usually every Wednesday, and I will see you guys then.